not a body, I am free, for I am still as God created me. There is no peace except the peace, except the peace of God, of God. There is no peace except the peace, except the peace of God, of God. And I am glad, and I am glad, and thankful it is so. There is no peace except the peace, except the peace of God, of God. Let me not wander from the way of peace, of peace. For I am lost on other roads than this, other roads than this. But let me follow him who leads me home, leads me home. And peace is certain, peace is certain, as the love of God, the love of God. There is no peace except the peace, except the peace of God, of God. I am not a body, I am free, for I am still as God created me. Well, thank you so much for joining me today and studying A Course in Miracles. We're on Lesson 220. We're reading from the Foundation for Inner Peace version of A Course in Miracles. Here sitting on the banks of the New Spiro Lake in Oklahoma. And this is the last of our reviews. I'm Miracle Willie, forgiveness teacher of the Ozarks. And this is the last of our last 20 days of telling ourselves every hour of the day, I am not a body, I am free, for I am still as God created me. There is no peace except the peace of God, and I am glad and thankful it is so. Let me not wander from the way of peace, for I am lost on other roads than this. But let me follow him who leads me home, and peace is certain as the love of God. So this is Wednesday, August the 7th of 2024's lesson. And he's really wanted us to get this idea down that I'm not a body. You're not a physical body. That's just not you. You're eternal spirit. You're free from the body. You're free from all the problems of this world. For I am still as God created me. You're his son eternally. So let's go take a look at our text reading today. And we're reading from the Foundation for Inner Peace version of A Course in Miracles. And we're ready for lesson or text reading in chapter 24, The Goal of Specialness, section 5, The Christ in You. So let's look at what it says here. The Christ in you is very still. He looks on what he loves and knows it as himself. And thus does he rejoice at what he sees, because he knows that it is one with him and with his Father. Specialness, too, takes joy in what it sees, although it is not true. Yet what you seek for is a source of joy as you conceive it. What you wish is true for you, nor is it possible that you can wish for something and lack faith that it is so. Wishing makes real. Catch this. Wishing makes real, as surely as does will create. Okay, wishing makes real, as surely as does will create. So your will is creative, but your wishing also makes real. It may not be real, but you'll think it is. So we need to watch what we're wishing for. We want to learn to wish for only the things that are true. And that'd be now our wishing turns into willing. But while we wish, let's learn to wish as the Holy Spirit wishes, to see a forgiven world. Anyway, he goes on to say, wishing makes real as surely as does will create. The power of a wish upholds illusions as strongly as does love extend itself, except that one deludes and the other heals. So your wishing as directed by the ego deludes, but your willing as directed by the Holy Spirit heals. Paragraph 2. There is no dream of specialness, however hidden or disguised the form, however lovely it may seem to be, however much it delicately offers the hope of peace and the escape from pain, in which you suffer not your condemnation. In dreams, effect and cause are interchanged, for here the maker of the dream believes that what he made is happening to him. He does not realize he picked a thread from here, a scrap from there, and wove a picture out of nothing. For the parts do not belong together, and the whole contributes nothing to the parts to give them meaning. Paragraph 3. Where could your peace arise but from forgiveness? The Christ in you looks only on the truth and sees no condemnation that could need forgiveness. Where could your peace arise but from forgiveness? Where could your peace arise but from forgiveness? The Christ in you looks only on the truth and sees no condemnation and sees no condemnation that could need forgiveness. I want to read that repeated a couple times because it's so similar to our lesson today, obviously. There is no peace except the peace of God. Let me not wander from the way of peace, for I am lost on other roads than this. But let me follow him who leads me home, and peace is certain as the love of God. So here he's saying in paragraph 3, where could your peace arise but from forgiveness? Whenever you're not feeling peaceful, remember we've learned how to change feelings of pain to feelings of joy, to peace, simply by the practice of forgiveness. Give up what comes before us. We don't need it. If it's meant to be meant for us, it'll return without our effort. And if it wasn't meant for you, it was a good thing to give it up. So learn to be quick to give up thoughts that don't bring you joy. Where could your peace arise but from forgiveness? The Christ in you looks only on the truth and sees no condemnation that could need forgiveness. He is at peace because he sees no sin. See, there's where our loss of peace comes from, is our seeing of sin. He is at peace because he sees no sin. Identify with him, and what has he that you have not? He is your eyes, your ears, your hands, your feet. How gentle are the sights he sees, the sounds he hears. How beautiful his hand that holds his brothers, and how lovingly he walks beside him, showing him what can be seen and heard, and where he will see nothing, and there is no sound to hear. Let's read that again. How beautiful his hand that holds his brothers, and how lovingly he walks beside him, showing him what can be seen and heard, and where he will see nothing, and there is no sound to hear. So be a good example for your brothers and sisters. Show them where there's nothing really to hear. Even if they think there's some noise being made, you don't have to hear it. If it speaks of sin, overlook it, because that is the divine kingdom, is recognizing that what is not real can't be made real, no matter how much you've tried to do it, and it only brings you lack of peace. Paragraph 4. Yet let your specialness direct his way, and you will follow, and both will walk in danger, each intent in the dark forest of the sightless, unlit but by the shifting tiny gleams that spark an instant from the fireflies of sin, and then go out, to lead the other to a nameless precipice, and hurl him over it. For what can specialness delight in but to kill? What can specialness delight in but to kill? Remember, he's talked a lot about this idea of specialness, that we don't want to try to see other people as more important or less important. We want to see them all as children of God. So he says here that for what can specialness delight in but to kill? What does it seek for but the sight of death? What does it lead? Or where does it lead but to destruction? Yet think not that it looked upon your brother first, nor hated him before it hated you. The sin its eyes behold in him, and love to look upon it saw in you, and looks on still with joy. Yet is it joy to look upon decay and madness, and believe this crumbling thing, with flesh already loosened from the bone, and sightless holes for eyes, to like yourself? Oh, is like yourself? Paragraph 5. Rejoice, you have no eyes with which to see, no ears to listen, and no hands to hold, nor feet to guide. Be glad that only Christ can be glad that only Christ can lend you his, while you have need of them. We have need of the eyes of Christ, the vision of Christ, the sinless world. That's the key to forgiveness. They are illusions too, as much as yours. Yet, rejoice, you have no eyes with which to see, no ears to listen, and no hands to hold, nor feet to guide. Be glad that only Christ can lend you his, while you have need of them. They are illusions too, as much as yours. And yet, because they serve a different purpose, the strength their purpose holds is given them. And what they see and hear and hold and lead is given light, that you may lead as you were led. In paragraph 6, the Christ in you is very still. He knows where you are going, and he leads you there in gentleness and blessing all the way. The Christ in you is very still. He knows where you are going, and he leads you there in gentleness and blessing all the way. His love for God replaces all the fear you thought you saw within yourself. His holiness shows you himself in him, whose hand you hold, and whom you lead to him. And what you see is like yourself. For what but Christ is there to see and hear and love and follow home? He looked upon you first, but recognized that you were not complete. And so he sought for your completion in each living thing that he beholds and loves, and seeks it still, that each might offer you the love of God. Paragraph 7. Yet is he quiet, for he knows that love is in you now, and safety held in you by the same hand that holds your brothers in your own. Christ's hand holds all his brothers in himself. He gives them vision for their sightless eyes, and sings to them of heaven, that their ears may hear no more the sound of battle and of death. He reaches through them. Don't you want God to reach through the sounds of battle and death? He reaches through them, holding out his hand, that everyone may bless all living things and see their holiness. And he rejoices that these sights are yours, to look upon with him and share his joy. His perfect lack of specialness he offers you, that you may save all living things from death, receiving from each one the gift of life that your forgiveness offers to yourself. The sight of Christ is all there is to see. The song of Christ is all there is to hear. The hand of Christ is all there is to hold. There is no journey but to walk with him. And paragraph 8. You who would be content with specialness and seek salvation in a war with love, consider this. The Holy Lord of Heaven has himself come down to you to offer you your own completion. What is his is yours, because in your completion is his own. He who willed not to be without his Son could never will that you be brotherless. And would he give a brother unto you, except he be as perfect as yourself, and just as like to him in holiness as you must be? And the last paragraph of this section, 9. There must be doubt before there can be conflict. There must be doubt before there can be conflict. And every doubt must be about yourself. Every doubt must be about yourself. Christ has no doubt. And from his certainty, his quiet comes. He will exchange his certainty for all your doubts if you agree that he is one with you, and that this oneness is endless, timeless, and within your grasp, because your hands are his. He is within you, yet he walks beside you and before, leading the way that he must go to find himself complete. His quietness becomes your certainty. His quietness becomes your certainty. And it's not talking about quietness in this world, because you can have all kinds of noise like we're having right now and still be abiding in the quiet. We want to learn to do that. His quietness becomes your certainty. In other words, Christ's quietness becomes your certainty. And where is doubt when certainty has come? Okay, I think that finishes that section. And let's go back and take a look. Before we go back and look at our lesson for today, let me tell you some things going on around the world today. And I've got a little box popped up here. That's okay. Aged Care Employee Day. So if you're taking care of aged people, today's Aged Care Employee Day. Mom's Equal Pay Day. Equal pay for equal work. That's a good policy, not having respect for persons. Not showing favoritism or specialness. Let's see, Beach Party Day. Nice day to be here at the beach. Which I actually am on the beach here, the new Lake Spiro. Lighthouse Day. Makes me think of the Alexandria Lighthouse, which was one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world. It was designed by I think he was a Greek, but his name was Sostratus. He was the one that designed the Alexandria Lighthouse, which was destroyed in an earthquake. I'm not sure what year. Psychiatric Technician Appreciation Day, and that's for also known as Mental Health Technician Day. So you know, if you're a person that and we all could use help in mental health, and if you find yourself needing mental help, I would really encourage you to find someone who can tune in with you specifically, and they may not be the ones that you know, you may still use a doctor, but finding a counselor that can actually help you to sort through things. Oh, you know, doctors a lot of time are too busy to really take the time to listen. You know, they've got a lot of people to listen to and take care of, and they kind of dole out some of their work. Well, Psychiatric Technician Appreciation Day, those people that they ask to help them that could actually be your counselor, we give thanks for them. Raspberry and Cream Day. Raspberries, the Rubus idaeus. If I was home, I'd probably be sitting in front of my little wild raspberry patch there by my walnut trees. You guys have seen me sit by. I think I sat by it the day before yesterday. Or maybe it was yesterday. Sea Serpent Day. The Bible talks about sea serpents. They call them a Leviathan. Several places in the Bible. Particularly prosperous packaging. Oh, not preposterous. Particularly preposterous packaging day. I tell you the thing that I like for packaging, which is completely organic. You can throw it in your compost when you get it, and that's popcorn. You know, instead of those little styrofoam beads or plastic bags that are full of air, pack it with popcorn and throw it in your compost. Put it in a wooden or a paper box, and even your paper box can go in the compost. Professional Speakers Day, and that's probably something that most of us do well to learn a little more about. And Purple Heart Day. And you get a Purple Heart if you've been wounded or killed in a conflict in the United States. And this began way back in Washington's time. And I got to looking, and there's been almost 2.5 million Purple Hearts given out in the history of the United States. That's a lot of people getting hurt. We'd sure like to think that the next 200 years of this continent's journey would be less Purple Hearts needed to give out, because we don't injure each other. We start using our minds to talk to each other. We start using dialogue instead of brawn. It's that using reptilian brain, I've heard a lot of people call it, is really not the way to get what we really want. Because we're all going to still be here. Even if I win, you're going to still be there. I mean, unless there's a genocide occurring, which we want to not happen. Okay, and then I also wanted to tell you, I found all that on holidays and observances. And then in edible landscaping, we've got another rhubarb, and it's called the crimson red rhubarb. It's a rheum hybridum, and the crimson red is considered a sweet rhubarb variety. It is a cloned variety of rhubarb and not from seed. So it grows true to type and ensures the size, flavor, and color of crimson red. The best of 25 varieties in impartial tests. Most rhubarb varieties show their red coloring only at the bottom of the stalk. With purebred plants, the color goes all the way up the stalk like ruby chard and continues into the stalk. Redness may vary from northern to southern growing conditions, however. Plants are hardy into Canada, zones 4 through 9, spaced 2 to 3 foot apart. So every 2 to 3 foot, and all North America, all the way up into Canada. Okay, now I said we wanted to talk a little bit more about our lesson for today. There is no peace except the peace of God, sandwiched under this idea, I'm not a body, I am free, for I'm still as God created me. And we want to really keep that. We won't use that tomorrow, but today, let's go ahead and every hour of the day try to bring that to your mind, thinking about how you're not the body, that you're free from the body, and that you're the Son of God, created in God's image and still as God is. Don't think about yourself as a body. Think of yourself as maybe a orb of light or something, but you're the eternal spirit, one with God. There is no peace except the peace of God. Be sure to try to tell yourself that every hour of the day, as well as take 15 minutes in the morning, 15 minutes in the evening, and hang out with that idea. As long as you've been, if you've been at the beginning working your way up as we've been practicing, you should be able to spend 15 minutes twice a day. If not, well, then don't get too fretted over that. But do spend a little time every morning and every evening just quietly letting God speak to you. Turn off the chatter and listen. Meditate, in other words, or listening prayer, as I like to think of it. Okay, was there anything? I think that's it. Let's sing our song one last time, and I thank you so much for joining me out here on the lakes of New Lake Spiro. I am not a body, I am free, for I am still as God created me. Have you been saying that to yourself? I am not a body, I am free, for I am still as God created me. There is no peace except the peace of God, There is no peace except the peace of God. And I am glad, and I am glad, and thankful it is so. There is no peace except the peace Let me not wander from the way of peace, way of peace. Let's not wander from the one. Let me not wander from the way of peace, the way of peace. Let's don't wander from the way of peace. Be aware when you're throughout the day that you're peaceful. And if not, use your forgiveness to return to that peace. There is no peace except the peace of God, Let me not wander from the way of peace, the way of peace. For I am lost on other roads than peace, than this. But let me follow Him who leads me home. Let me follow Him who leads me home to peace. And peace is certain, peace is certain as the love of God. There is no peace except the peace of God, peace of God. I am not a body, I am free, for I am still as God created me. I am not a body, I am free, for I am still as God created me. There is no peace except the peace of God, peace of God. Okay, and our word for peace is out of the Hmong language of China and Southeast Asia. And it's, I found two different words. One's kind of a long word, and it's Kev Taj Yib Yab. Kev Thaj Yib Yab. And also Phaj hauj, I think. And Phaj hauj is a whole lot easier to say, so let's just use that word this time. So out of the Hmong people's language, Phaj hauj for peace. There is no peace except the peace of God. I am not a body, I am free, for I am still as God created me. There is no peace except the peace of God. Phaj hauj.